Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UBA Season 4 Post Draft Power Rankings number 2 edition, the American edition, with me and PK.
Oh, my. I know I'm just like great. You're ready. Like, everyone's ready for these facts. Like, Reggie and Mars, there were no facts. They were just unopinions. We're facts.
Especially Reggie.
Especially Reggie.
Alright. So, you want to just go right into it then?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Alright. Well, my number 13 is a bit different than Reggie Mars's. I have Freddie in last place, so I guess I'll update the doc. Are you already on it?
I got you.
Alright. Yeah, so the biggest problems I have with Freddie's team is the flying resist doesn't exist. And rocks destroy him. So his weaknesses are really pronounced and really exploitable. So any form of offense on his entire team is completely shut down by the fact that if you get rocks up, they're taking a quarter every single time they come in. So if you have if you get rocks up and then just have a flying type, you will win the game.
Oh, I had Freddie higher. You'll see when I rank him, but he's very rock weak. He has great breakers and late game sweepers. Obviously, they can't switch in most of the time, especially with the Swallow and Mega Beedrill, and then Kiram. And then Mew has to play more of a defensive role, which is okay because Mew works better in draft as a defensive mon. But types he has 3 flying types. So he's really weak at rocks, and he has decent hazard removal. At the same time, that's just gonna hinder his ability.
I don't think his hazard removal is even decent besides Mew, and Mew definitely doesn't want to run defog every week because it really eats into its versatility.
Well, personally, Freddie drafts Moltres every single draft. I've never seen a draft without Moltres. For some reason, he makes defog work on Moltres, and that's
you do realize rock types get stealth rock, right?
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm just saying.
Do you realize every ground type also gets stone edge?
I know. I don't. I'm just saying. I don't know how, but he makes it work.
Yeah. I think it's his weaknesses are really pronounced and very exploitable. And once you get rocks up, the only thing he can do to even pressure out anything faster than a Moongus Piloswine is bring out Mew, and Mew isn't even that powerful. So he's going to be forced to take massive chunks of damage of rocks, and his hazard removal is not nearly good enough to justify having that. Fortress gets rapid spin, but Fortress is bad.
Not gonna lie, you can just come in this week and just bring knockoff on 2 of your mons, and it'll whittle down his team.
Alright. So I guess is that enough for Freddy?
Yeah, that's...
I don't know, for good sides, I guess, his offense isn't that bad, but
I think his offense is great. I think it comes in a revenge as well, but especially on rocks, that obviously hinders its ability, so...
Also, ice kind of decks him too. Actually, does his ice resist not exist? Piloswine and Fortress, which really isn't even an ice resist. So yeah, flying and ice decimate him. Rocks decimate him. Rock type decimates him. Just too much going wrong, in my opinion. Too easy to exploit. So who is your last place team?
Cody.
Alright. I have him lower down, but I'll hear your reasoning.
His rockers are... Are you going to bring Lando every week to set up rocks? You got webs. The offense is great, don't get me wrong. His defensive core is... There's it's thick, but it's it doesn't work as well, I think. When I see this team, I just don't think it feels right. And yeah, he has Trick Room potential, but you have Mega Man Trick, Trick Room, and you have Rabombi to slow down other mons, but like the sticky webs won't help your team unless your team's so slow.
Yeah, I don't think the webs help out a tremendous amount here.
I mean, if you want a fairy, but like you already have aromatease, like I feel like he just
Rabambi's
wasted
not
his
a
tier
fairy.
3. Rabambi is a fairy.
It's not a fairy though.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like, for the dragon immunity, but like he doesn't need it. Like he just wasted a tier 3 mod to be, in my opinion.
I personally think webs are trash, but that's just me. But like Reggie said a lot, Stack Attack is not a reliable steel mon to fall back on. It's not his rockers are definitely subpar. I feel like there's nothing that Volcanion or nothing that like Volcanion and Hoopa or Volcanion and Hoopa kind of like clash with each other because they really form or like serve a very similar role of being like massive, hard to deal with fat breakers, but kind of a middling speed tier. Volcanion is much worse as a breaker than Hoopa is, but it fits Lando's typing better. But I feel like it's just a bit redundant to have both of them.
I think Gudra's also misplaced here. I think a faster dragon would have helped this team.
I don't think it's too bad just because it's like a really creative grass immunity, and grass kind of messes him up a little bit. But other than that, it doesn't help him too much.
This is the flying ground. I mean, he has one immunity ground.
His team is very unregenerative too, which hurts him.
To rely on aromatease every single week.
Aromatisse is bad, so like that's
for
not
his team.
That's not helping him.
At this point, he just explodes with Lando. Just trick room sweeps the Staccato. It's just like
Also,
he just hit hard.
He can't outrun base 100s outside of Mega Manectric and Scarfers, which also is a problem.
He could run Choice Specs Tentacle. Just saying.
He could. That is a possibility. I don't have Cody. I forget. Oh shit! I never pulled up my list. Oh wait, no, never mind. I pulled it up, but then I got rid of it by accident when I clicked on the dock. All right, I'm just going to need you to click on the dock from here on out. We'll move on to my number 12, though. I have Jolty pretty low, but not nearly as low as you do. My number 12 is Jolty, so you can pull him up now if you want.
What am I clicking?
Jolty. Kangaroo Jolty. There we are. So Jolty drafted pretty much typical draft of what he always drafts. So some advantages he has over his previous drafts is that he has a few more fat mons that aren't do nothing mons. Like Pharaoh and Gliscor actually do a lot while they're out on the field, as opposed to Florges and Cresselia, which absolutely do not. He's typical Jolty fashion. He's going to always rely on Florges and Cresselia to kind of just sit out there and try and wall entire opponents.
Yeah.
Which is going to work on some opponents, and he's going to get them smashed against others who know how to deal with it. He doesn't have any super fast mons like he usually does. He replaced his flying type weakness from last season with an ice type weakness. Transferred Zebstrika being the only flying resist to Keldeo being the only ice resist, which is a better situation than Zebstrika being the only flying resist in my opinion, but still not great. But there's just not a whole lot of offense going on here, and the defense is pretty lackluster, so I have him.
I don't rate the Ferrothorn on this team at all.
You don't rate the Ferrothorn?
Ferrothorn does not work well.
I can see it. It's a solid steal.
Well, it's steel, obviously, but I feel like if he could have gotten a better steel that fits this team more. Like, first of all, I mean, you already have Gliscor as a great rocker. Yeah, I guess Spikes as well, and Leech Seed can help recovery.
You can't have too many rockers, in my opinion.
Another fighting type. Like, he's weak. 5 of his mons are weak to fighting. Like,
I mean, any steel besides the steel psychics are going to have that problem. And he has like 3 extremely bulky fighting resists.
Just,
I think his defense is fine. It's just like incredibly passive like usual, and he's got very lackluster offense. Like Keldeo and Kangaskhan Khan are the entire offense on this team. Like maybe
Haxorus sounds.
sometimes Haxorus is like really not good though.
Trying
Haxorus
to
is my
say,
boy, but he's like not that good.
I mean, his only ice resist is Keldeo.
Yeah, we went over that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, Keldeo has to play more of a defensive role in this team. Like,
Keldeo
I
really
like,
can't serve that role even when it wants to though.
oh, but and that's like the thing. And his wish pass, like, Florges is a great wisher, which is, I think, works well with Keldeo. Mega Kang, and I think he supports Mega Kang greatly. But, like, at the same time, it's like, you have no speed unless you're going to run Tailwind or just Scarf, Heelwisk, or Haxorus.
I don't even see how he really supports King that well in the first place, because the most obvious switch-ins to King are always going to be the Steels and Rock types, and really nothing on his team like convincingly always comes in on Steels and beats him. Like Gliscor kind of does, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes Keldeo, but like not solidly. That's about it.
Is there any, like, he got Swellow was sniped, right?
Yeah, I don't think that would have saved him though. I guess more normal spam, but that's about it.
Normal span is great for
But
him.
like bringing the investment of having both Kangaskhan and Exploud on your team is pretty much like throwing out a lot of other things you could have brought. Team
They
just
keep
has
the
very little offense in my opinion and quite exploitable, which is why I have it this low.
fair. This is a team he would like, so
Yeah, but this is just a typical Jolty team. I think he's used to getting drafted. Jolty's are used to getting ranked low. Jolty's gonna always
yeah, that's
draft what he
true.
likes, and he doesn't care what we say about it. He cares what we say, and he like
Doesn't care
wants to
about the
he
ranking
wants
as
to
much.
hear what we say, but nothing's gonna change his mind about what he wants to draft and his style. It's kind of just his
You lie.
thing. All right, so you
See,
can
you
move on
lie
to your
hard.
yeah. We can move on to your 13 now.
I got T-Bill.
T-bill. Okay, I have T-bill much higher, so I really want to hear your reasoning for this.
Alright. Put this down. Where? Okay. So you just spam Volt Switch on this thing. And you spam more electric moves than not. And
You can put them onto the team chart too.
for the other one, sorry. Murray. I think he has like his defensive core is just like not there.
Yeah, I think his defensive core is pretty solid.
Individual defensive mons.
Blue
Like
Tran
it's
is quite hard to break on its own. He's got a bronze lung tossed in there for some extra insurance. Mantine is also pretty good. Like it's definitely no top tier defensive core, but it's solid.
the thing is what this team does really well, and like this goes for all drafts. I think all the drafts are in like ways they have great like. There's not one draft that has not one thing great about them, and they break like he has mods that break well, and then he has Mega Alakazam who just sweeps, which I think the offensive synergy of this team works pretty well. I just think the defensive synergy is just really lacking, and
I have to disagree
Steve
with you, but okay.
can explain why, but his defoggers and his rapid spinners are top is good, I guess. Manatine is decent. Burn is Thunderous is you're not bringing defog, and his clerks like he would actually like. I know he has grassy terrain, but he would actually benefit from Wish for Kofag or Heatran. All I have written down for him.
Alright, I think Zam plus Heatran's a really nice breaking core. Because Zam's always going to bring in steals, maybe some psychics, and Heatran naturally shits on both of those types, gets up rocks on them, and kind of just breaks from there. and it's the heat trend too, which lets it break even harder. Um, Bulu naturally lures in steel types a lot of the time. Like if you're playing a Metagross, if you're playing a Selly, if you're playing a Skarm, they're always going to want to come in and take hits from Bulu. And those are exactly what you need chip on for Alakazam to sweep a lot of times. So I think offensively, his team works out really well together. Um,
I agree with that, but I'm just talking about defensively. It doesn't work too well.
Bulu Tran is pretty tried and true. It's not by no means unbreakable, but it's still a very solid core.
But like what you're saying, right? So you have to think about this. You're saying that Bulu and Tran, like Tran works with Mega Alakazam as
I
like
don't think
a breaker,
there's a single
right?
type that hits even double neutral against Bulu Tran. PK, are you there, or are you just thinking about
I was thinking,
types that hit
yeah,
double neutral?
I was thinking of types.
I don't think there is one.
No. I want to play Heatran and Bulu as like breakers, right? For Mega Alakazam per se, or at least Heatran.
Heatran definitely can get worn, but they're like, since they have an offensive presence, lots of times they're forcing things out, so they don't have to take consecutive hits. So having an offensive aspect to your defensive walls is definitely beneficial, and there's Bronzong in the back for extra insurance. So like I said, I don't think it's a top tier uh, defensive core, but it's by no means a bad one.
Okay, I can agree with that. I was just trying to say if you're trying to break with Heatran and Bulu, like it'd be exposed on the defensive. That's what I was trying to get at.
My problems with the team is like you said, the electric weakness is definitely there. I think he actually might benefit more from having Thundy I over or Thundy T over Thundy I.
I was thinking, and I was like, this thing does not get full absorb, and I was like, oh wait, it's the wrong one.
But yeah, Bisharp and Thundy I just don't seem to have a role in this team, in my opinion. I guess Bisharp can pursuit trap some psychics for Zam, but that's about it. I know Bisharp's his favorite mod, so like he's keeping it and he wants to draft it, and that's completely cool with me. I'm just saying, like, objectively, I don't see a reason for it to be on the team, but like if it's your favorite mod, by all means, go for it. But I don't see why Thundy I is here.
I think Bisharp, this team, I think Dundee I was just a worthless pick, and
It's not worthless. It'll like do its job. I just don't see the synergy at all.
Okay, that's what yeah.
All right. Well, I'll move on to my number 11 now. Keep this rolling. Oh shit! I just showed 2 picks. Rip. Well, my number 11 is you.
Yes.
But I guess you're 2 spots higher than you're expecting to be from me. So the reason I have you up this high is because I actually think the rain you have going on is solid, just because like rain lots of times can be hard to stop. I think I slept on rain the first time when Pete drafted it and really like oversold its linearity, because even though it is linear, even when you see it coming, it's still hard to stop. I think you really, the double weather thing, like even with as much as we've been memeing it, it's still like not good. Like it just makes no sense. Like Ninetales plus Manaphy, that's a thing that works well, but like the way in my opinion, if you're drafting Ninetales and you're not bringing hyper offense setup spam every week, you're just really not going to help you out that much, especially with rain. Because the way it works then is like if you ever want to do anything with any of your rain sweepers, you have to go into Ninetales, put up your Aurora Veil, and then put up your Aurora Veil, then go into Pelipper, and then get in your sweeper. And that's 2 turns right there. Like 2 turns total where you have to have in 2 mons that are completely passive and not doing anything, and hope your opponent like just sits there and lets it happen. They're not. If your opponent has any form of weather on their own, it's also going to screw you over.
Yeah.
And if you want to go set up Veil, you have to shut down your own rain.
So this is how I look at it, right? Ninetales and Pelipper, if I were to bring them on the same team, I think Ninetales switches out. Oh, not really vice versa, but hopefully a great synergy between, as it's iron resist, can resist fire. What's it called? Especially if drizzle. I think it works well. Like switching it to them, and developer gets momentum with U-turn, and I could like my team is one dimensional, and this is like as much as someone wants to say this is a hail of drizzle team. Like we all know it's a drizzle team, like just straight up a drizzle team. And I do have 2 regenerator mods who are pretty bulky, and then I have milk tank.
It's milk tank. There's no K there.
Milk tank. Sorry, God, fits this team pretty well, and Manaphy gives this team another dimension in this whole way. So you could think about it like this: there's could be a week where I don't bring Pelipper or Kingdra, and say Scarf Magnezone, Torn, or Royal Veil Ninetales, and then have Manaphy as a setup sweeper, like with a Z Rain or like Z Hard, like more within the team that's like being covered up. Like when you're prepping for my team, you're not prepping for a swim. You're not prepping just for the bulk of Tangrowth and toxicking my Torn. Also, you have to break Magnezone under Drizzle, and then you have to make sure like you're prepped for a Manaphy with Tail Glow. I think my team get like prep against, and I think there's just a lot of threats that come with it.
I agree. There's a lot of threats. I still maintain that Ninetales is really dog shit here. It's never going to do anything in terms of fail, I don't think. And it's going to have to shut down your own weather. And to make the commitment of bringing both Ninetales and Pelipper, that's bringing 2 mons that are there solely to help other mons, and they're pretty mutually exclusive in the mons they help. I think Ninetales should get the boot, and you should really just focus solely on a rain team, because the rain core you actually have right now is pretty solid. Swampert, Kingdra, Torrent, Tang, all really good. Zone is meh. Like, I don't think the drizzle or like having rain up actually helps zone out all that much, besides like accurate thunders, because if something had a problem with zone in the first place, they were running HP ground or earthquake. Very few things are like, oh, I can't break zone now because I can't use my fire move.
That's true.
But yeah, I actually don't think your team's that bad. The no hazards is an issue. And I think just focus on the rain, because the Aurora Veil isn't doing anything for you.
Rocks.
I
would say there's rock.
Huh?
Miltank is a decent rocker, and Mega Swampert.
Mega Swampert, in my opinion, is always just better off.
I agree with
killing
that.
Things
like,
when it's out, and it always wants to reserve its HP.
Calc stun and Tepic Bitter, watch out.
Yeah, those are my opinions on your team. I think it's better than the first 2, and very close. I already made the rankings, but I don't know, I'd maybe consider you higher than my next person, which I have is Cody, which you already went over as your last one.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just skim over him because we did talk about him.
Jolty, where I was at.
We went over him pretty thoroughly, so I think...
I was not going to go. I was just saying, for the record. Alright, Jolty at 12.
Oh, yeah, we went over Jolty too. So I guess we can move on to my number... Or who's your number 11 then?
Oh. I put Pete here.
Pete at number 11?
I broke my PR rankings and like... So, like... I think these, like me, Pete, and I have interchangeable in ranking.
You're kind of cut out right there.
Changeable in ranking.
You, Pete, and who?
Pete and someone else.
Someone else who you're not revealing yet?
Yes, it's Freddy. Oh,
I have Freddy significantly worse in terms of team. I have Pete a bit higher. The way I see it, the 13 through 10 teams are significantly worse than 9 through 1. 9 through 1 teams, I think, have like no super big weaknesses, but 10 through 13 all have very sizable weaknesses that are quite exploitable, in my opinion, and are definitely like flawed teams. But 9 through 1 on my list are quite good. But give me a reason for having Pete so low.
He just has good speed, but like the speed gap, just once you hit like Stormy, you're just it's like you get a Komodo, and
Komodo
like
is like 85, right?
yeah, and it's kind of weird. But I mean, he has zero aura, so and a Crobat and a Talonflame. Like he has good speed, and it just drops off from like speed gap.
Oh wait.
And it's
Oh, okay. I forgot that the speed is actually right there on my screen, guys. I'm sorry. It's gonna sound like I was being a super smart ass saying that 80. I was like, oh, it's 85, right? I actually completely forgot that it was there. That came from my head. I swear on my life. I'm not being retarded, or like I was being retarded, but like not retarded to the point where I can see it and then act like I'm guessing.
my God. He doesn't have hazard removal. I'm sorry.
Starmie? Question mark?
No, sir. Other than Starmie, you didn't let me finish there. I wrote it down. Like other than Starmie,
Crobat?
you're not.
This is some of the better hazard removal I've seen.
Crobat, I guess. Scizor, just I'm saying no from like my experience, especially a regular Scizor. You don't really want to run defog on it. You want to run Swords Dance, Band, Curse, I guess. Like
Still, Starmie runs Rabbit's
further.
been pretty often, pretty naturally, pretty happily.
Yeah.
And his team isn't even that rock weak.
Yeah.
Not like Freddy's team.
What did I say? Oh, that's true. The offensive synergy is good. I don't know how I feel about Mega Titar and Komodo. Mega Titar works well with this team. If he got Mandibuzz and Mega Altaria, it would work really well with this team.
Hmm.
Just me, I think that would have complemented this team more, to be honest.
I
About
really
that,
like
but-
I really like Zera plus Scizor. They work very nicely together. Then like past that, I can't really see why anything is on the team. Like it's not like he has most things covered. I just don't see the synergy, and the team's not that bulky, so it's liable to be being worn down pretty quickly. Reggie and Mars kind of took shots at him for not having a ton of power, which is true to some extent. I think Starmie, Nidoqueen, Scizor, and Zera, that's enough offense to pretty much cover any matchup, but it's not anything explosive.
It's no defense. I mean, he has bulk within certain bonds, but he has like
And
This is
Titar
the
too.
what's it like? But what's his defensive synergy? I think Mandibuzz would work really well. Like defensive synergy to this team. Bulk within his Komodo and Mega Titar and I guess Scizor, but like and Nidoqueen.
Mhm.
But like Nidoqueen's gonna have to run AV most of the time, mostly like bulky. Starmie can hold its own, I guess, but once that's getting pursuit trapped, etc.
Yeah.
Especially when flying is not the best defensive type.
Yeah, the way I see
Right.
Pete's team is like it covers everything it needs to and has no major flaws. It just doesn't have any major upsides either.
This thing, like, he has three electric immunities. Unless Stunfisk, don't count Stunfisk as a mon, which I kind of do.
Stunfisk actually isn't bad.
I respect it. He does have. I like Glissobot.
There's certain mons out there with like unique typings that actually come into useful play a lot of times, like Rotom Spook, like Stunfisk, like Soul Rock and Lunatone, like Lantern.
What?
Like there's a lot of things with, like really unique typings that actually help a lot of the time.
Down here, like, you see he's weak to like certain like types, but like he covers them really well, which I appreciate on the matchup, because I think he can get blown away in certain matchups and just other matchups he could just like break through.
Yeah.
Just depends.
I think we talked enough about him. That was your number 11, right?
And I think.
Huh?
All right.
All right. Well, I'll move on to my number 9. So this is my first team of my big top group where I think everyone's pretty close. But I have Tepik, so change it to Tepik so I don't have to put my list down. All right. So Tepik, kind of like Pete, has everything covered. But I think Tepik has a serious speed issue where past 100 he really can't. He just doesn't have too many mons that apply a lot of pressure with decent speed. Zygarde is a mon that like it's good, but it's not like overwhelmingly powerful off of face value. It's not like Zygarde can come in often and keep threatening things out. It's only got 100 attacks, so like it's not hitting that hard until it sets up. So it kind of like needs time to be a threat unless it wants to run Choice Band. And even then, it's not too hard to switch into unless it's adamant. And even then, it's sometimes, or lots of times, is quite handleable if you have the correct responses to it. So it really leaves a lot on Greninja to really force things out and apply all of his offensive pressure. And Tepik has like this U-turn fetish too, so Greninja's going to just keep U-turning the entire time, and he's not even really going to keep applying pressure because what does he go into that's actually going to outrun an offensive threat once Greninja U-turns on a possible offensive threat? And I think some of you at this point are like crying, Cryogonal and Whimsicott are good. No, they're not. They're not threatening anything out. They're pretty trash. They're good utility sometimes. It's sometimes helpful, but like they're pretty bad. So Greninja is really the only offensive threat that's faster than 100 here. And then it drops all the way to the Zygarde, which isn't even that good of a face value offensive threat. I think Chomp really would have served this draft better. There's also not a whole lot that like happily. He's got some decent things that happily come in on grass like Venu and Blaziken and like sometimes Aggron. So I guess I can give him that.
I just exactly what you said, but and water types like, but why? Like you already had a Vaporeon, and I guess you had Greninja, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think Vaporeon like is even good. I think it's better than Vaporeon. Like if you just didn't draft Vaporeon, so why are you drafting Lantern? I guess Lantern's alright because it has an electric immunity.
The quote was, I wanted another electric immunity, but there's no grounds I want, so I need Lantern. Yeah, no. It is not a logical pick for the team. But
I don't. I mean, come on.
The team isn't terrible. He has everything covered. I think he just has a hard time with speed and actually keeping pressure on because he's going to have to run a lot of Scarfers. And
it gives him even more momentum. Really great for Zygarde and even Mega Aggron. Fable works really well with Mega Aggron and Zygarde as Wish Passers. And I mean, I feel like Fable's just gonna be a Wish Passer at this point, like Mega Aggron and
probably with the way
Tepik
plays, probably, but I think that's improperly utilizing it. But I think Tepik will probably just bring Wish and like some sort of setup every week, and then probably like beat down D-Winch or something because D-Winch doesn't prepare for that stuff, and then lose to everyone else.
Cosmo is just gonna the Cosmo really just it fits the team. I think the Cosmo fits the team.
Actually, D-Winch has got big Poppy Mega Venu this time. It's not happening. Not happening anymore, Tepik. No.
Oh my god.
Alright. Oh, who's your number 10?
That was me. We already talked about me. Next one.
Alright. I'll move on to my number 8, which is, I'll move it slow this time so I don't spoil it. Oh, Pete. I already talked about Pete.
So, do you want to talk about it more? Or?
I'll just, like, reiterate my quick rundown again. So if you're like skipping through looking to where your name appeared, I talked about you wherever PK has, so you're probably gonna have to skip through because I'm not putting timestamps because I'm a lazy shitter. But the team, I don't see the synergy. It like covers no major weaknesses, nothing really wrong with the team. Just I don't see the synergy in how things fit together, and it's not super regenerative. I guess something I didn't go over before is that ground types kind of fuck him up.
Yeah.
Because ground types are going to be the most common switch into his Zero Aura. And so if you Plasma Fist into a ground type, what does he do from that circumstance? What mon does he have in his team that like comes in and happily beats the ground type?
Zor.
Who?
Zor.
Scizor?
I just don't. He can bring air balloon, star me.
I mean, like, that might be the best way. Yeah, I think a really solid grass type could help him out here, because Zero Aura is going to be bringing a lot of ground types, because that's just what it does, and his team isn't super well equipped to deal with it, because his only switch-ins to it are his birds. Glycopod doesn't count because it's bad. It's not that bad, but, like, you're probably getting Earthquake twice into emergency exit, so you're not even doing anything. So yeah, and his two birds don't even naturally beat fire ground types. Like most ground types probably happily take on Talonflame and have Stone Edge. Crobat's pretty weak too. So yeah, I think the ground types really fuck Pete up. So I guess what's your number 9?
So we could continue that.
Yeah. I think you have Freddy way too high, but okay.
I can see that now.
Okay, number 7 might be a bit controversial, but I have Reggie. I know Reggie really likes his team. I clicked off. Whatever, I'll just finish it. Where
It's
even
not
is
that
Reggie?
controversial. I think it's where it's supposed to be at.
Alright, I know Reggie likes his team, and I think at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest factors is if you like your team, you're confident in it, go for it. And he like acknowledges that it's probably not his best draft. My biggest problems with the team is that he puts a lot of reliance to deal with a lot of mons on Klefki and Tapu Fini, which are passive little shits who can't do anything or recover. Zapdos is pretty good, but there's just not a whole lot of power going on. I think he really overrates the power of Glade. Glade is certainly very good, but it's not like he doesn't have the momentum to get it in enough for it to actually like do all the breaking it needs to every game. And Crook definitely helps with that, but it's like not enough. Crook isn't fast enough. It's by no means a bad team. I just think like that offensive presence and power isn't quite there. That needs to be there for it to be a top team. It's not a bad team by any means, though.
It's very weak.
Very weak. I'd say.
I think fairies just come in and just. What switches it to a fairy other than Klefki?
Togedemaru and maybe Volk, but if rocks are up, Volk definitely doesn't. And Volk doesn't appreciate taking damage.
No.
Ever.
Gonna bring Togedemaru
Togedemaru is quite shit, I can confirm. I did have to play one in March Madness. And it actually did surprisingly more than I expected, but still, like, the guy was, like, really dumb who had it, and they were, like, not clicking useful moves and, like, toxicking straight into my steel type, which is my natural response every single time, and just confusing me. It actually didn't do anything, but it was just, like, scaring me into thinking it was going to do something.
This hazard control's good, actually.
Yeah,
I think
it has to be when you have a Volk.
Klefki.
I think Klefki is really good because
Zapdos.
it's got the Prankster default, so it's kind of like a trump card where, like, so long as Klefki is alive, I've got this free defog on you all day. I can use it at any. I've got a free get out of hazard for free card whenever I want to set up my Volk.
He got good.
Unless you have a dark type, in which case I don't anymore. But if I predict it, I can kill it probably.
If he gets PK and PSBA, #code.
When you forget to run, play rough or dazzling, and your Klefki is walled by a Dragon.
God, that was so.
Yeah, I don't
All
think
right,
Reddy's team's bad by any means. I just think it lacks the power and upside of some of the other teams to
wish
really be
support.
at the top.
If
I,
he is better wish support than anything.
I think Wish support is pretty trash, but
His team it could be really great, especially for Feeney. Oh,
um, so who is your number 8? Because this is my number 7 for Reggie.
Mars.
Mars. Okay, I have Mars significantly higher. Um, so
It's your team.
yeah, it's my favorite team I've ever drafted. So
Um, so, it's Mars. Sorry that it's not even like a bad like a dig on you. Like, so Mars definitely plays different from you, and this is not his team. I don't think he fully like when he was drafting your team. As soon as he stopped drafting all your mods, I don't think he fully understood what he needed until after. Where was it? I can't. Where are my notes? It's speed control's pretty bad. Other than Coco, I mean, Coco hard carries him, and like,
he's got like Medi, Gross, or not Medi, or not Gross, but Medi, Hydra,
I mean, once,
Blissef.
and then your removal is because you want to like, you don't really want to run Hydreigon and Coco as your defoggers, and when are you gonna bring Volbeat and Volibile?
Uh,
And then you have to write.
Coco's not actually that bad of a defogger.
No, neither is Hydreigon. I'm just saying, like,
Or I meant
why?
to say
What?
Hydreigon. Hydreigon's actually pretty solid because it beats most grounds.
But like, not only is that like your defensive core is just. Where is your defensive core? Key. Blind because of thick fat. Like,
Well, I can speak from experience from using this team that like the defense comes a lot from the offense. Like if you're able to bring in offense a lot of the times, it can help you out. And I think his core of the mons of mine that he did take of Coco, Hydri, Metagross, Rose Raid, Medi are going to carry him a lot of games. I think past that he kind
yeah.
of like I think the glue that I used to kind of put those together with like my Gligar Lantern core, which I always draft, and things like that, really allowed, especially Medi, to shine even more. Because like pretty much every mon on my team had Volt Switch or U-turn. If you were prepping for me or playing against me, you probably noticed quite quickly, wow, no matter what I do, I'm getting U-turn or Volt switched on, because that was the intent of the team. And he definitely has significantly less of that.
Literally has only two momentum mons, which is Coco and Hydreigon, and for that, like, they're also your defoggers. Like,
Yeah, I think the momentum was like the key piece of what made my team work, and it's a severely lacking one. And his glue isn't nearly as good as mine. I think Mamo's kind of bad here. Like, not bad, but I just think there's nothing that Mamo does that Medi and Rose Raid don't do better.
literally just about to say that. Yeah, that's true. And I think a defensive mon instead of Mammo Swine.
Priority, Medi does better than Mamo. Coming in on the grasses and grounds that Coco brings in, Rose Raid comes in and puts up spikes. Mamo could possibly break better in some matchups, but like most of the time, if they're frail enough to be broken by Mamoswine, they're also frail enough to be broken by Medi. I think Blacephalon is not a terrible addition because it can prey on the psychics that are forced in by by Medi and kind of like feast on some late game scarf sweeps, but that's about it. Or Volibee's got some decent U-turn too. I think it actually has some viability here. Like fat little fat mons that U-turn with slow U-turns, I think are actually like quite valuable. But I don't like Araquanid. Volbeat is a terrible mine. Like if you actually manage to tail glow pass into agility or something, then your opponent is brain dead. Leaky's also pretty trash. Morris likes to be like, oh well, analysis of any given team. Well, if he had a wish pass, or Leaky's not going to help you here. Having more
Well,
U-turn than Volt Switch would have.
Well, he brought Licky to counterpick my team, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, like when you attempt to wish pass, your opponent knows what you're doing. They're not gonna like freely let your offense in. They're gonna double into something that keeps your offense out. They're gonna T-wave your offense. They're gonna toxic them. They're gonna smack you with a super effective move. When you turning or volt switching into your offense, which my entire team was based around last time, there's nothing they can do about that. If Gligar's U-turning on your Garchomp, what are you going to do about that? If like I'm wish passing into my Medi, Garchomp's Earthquake's just gonna knock it out of the park.
What he's lacking, and that's why we're doing pretty low, because this is like a bootleg version of your team.
Yeah, I still think the mons he has on it are really good, so I have it rated pretty highly. I think the synergy between Coco, Hydri, Metagross, Roserade, even Mamwo to some extent, although I think Weavile is much better, and Medi, and even Blisef to some extent, is very strong, so it's still a very good team. I just think it's not what it was last season.
The thing with Weavile is it pursuit trapped while also being naturally fast.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Really get carried by Coco and Scarf Hydreigon.
Alright. So I'll move on to my number 6 then, which is T-Bill. I already talked about T-Bill. Yeah, so a bit of an electric immunity, or a bit of an electric weakness, and defensive core isn't like fantastic, but I like his offensive synergy, and yeah, that's about it. I think Noivern, Thundy, and Bisharp seem just like a little thrown on, like they don't really belong there, but it's not terrible.
I think everything that I said just goes with it. I don't think it deserves to be that, like, I don't think T-Bill deserves to be that high, but I don't think he deserved to also be that low on my list looking back at it. I would say around like 9 or 10 would be great for T-Bill.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, I guess it's enough for him. So who's your number 7, I guess?
Ruby.
Alright, I can respect Ruby being at that position.
Looking at this team, you're just like, at first you're like, wow. And then if you look in depth to this, let me pull up my notes. Oh.
I think Ruby's team is really good. It's just like not all the way there. Like it's got a really nice core. It just needs a bit more on top of it to really get it there. And yeah, it's mainly speed.
And Mega's not even naturally fast. Like I gotta get speed boost.
Yeah.
And that can break. And then Azelf
Azelf has to do all of the speed control work. And she doesn't even have very good Scarfers.
Like at this point, like how long's Azelf gonna be alive?
I mean, if you preserve it well, you can probably keep it alive the whole game. But it's
as soon as a Dark Mon gets in with Pursuit, like out of there alive. But I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, Kira and Rotom with Mega Scizor and Sylveon's just...
Yeah, that core is very good. Extremely good. Those four work extremely well together.
Reggie, I don't know, but they were talking... I saw in their PR video how they rated his defog pretty well. And I don't think Mega Scizor... Are you good?
Ruby's defog really well?
Or at all. They said it was pretty decent.
Yeah,
but
I'd agree.
Scizor...
Rotom's also really good, because Rotom naturally beats grounds and most rocks.
So here's the thing: only two mons can run defog unless you're bringing Orikoro, and she said she'll use Orikoro with more of a Zapdos.
Knockoff
So
Zapdos is like still defogs decently well. Defogs on most grounds.
Rotom Wash doesn't have natural recovery. I mean, Sylveon obviously
Pain Split and
helps it
lefties
out with
and its
that,
typing actually make it last a long time though.
and Mega Scizor should never. I don't. I really strongly like when I ran Mega Scizor. Like I know I'm like bad, but when I ran Mega Scizor with Defog, I would not get one single kill. And I think when I stopped running Mega Scizor with Defog, I use Curse, Sword Stance. I have this one set for T-Bill in my mind, and I
You
like
should
it,
probably
but
not say that.
I mean, well, that sucks. Uh, Never mind. I
Well,
just
I
don't
think
think it's.
this is where you either need to dedicate it to a more utility role or to a sweeping role, and it can do both fine. And if she really needs to, she can go to a utility role. Um, I think possibly more defoggers could have been nice, but like she still has two extremely solid ones. I just think it's too much pressure on Azelf to really do all the speed control, and she doesn't have any really viable um, viable Scarfers. Virizian's decently fast, but it hits like tissue paper, so it's really not helping. She doesn't have very good rockers because Azelf is a good suicide lead rocker if you want to play it like that, but she needs it.
Swampert not
She
bad.
needs it for speed the entire game, so she really can't do that. So it really can't be putting up rocks like it would. So kind of Swampert just needs to come every game and throw up rocks, which is like, eh. But I think her core of Kyurem, Scizor, Sylveon is incredibly good. I think she just needs to pick up maybe another reliable rocker, or maybe just stick it out with Swampert and throw up rocks every week with Swampert. There's worse options, but more viable Scarfers and viable fast mines. Probably drop Beyond Mega, maybe Virizion or Choreo. I don't know how I feel about Arcanine.
I think Oricorio's fine. I think Arcanine is not worth dropping at this point when you could drop out
If
Yanmega or
there's something really
Sylveon.
nice in tier in tier um in tier 3, then maybe that really fits her team. Also, I feel like, did anyone draft Zam? Because I feel like Zam fits this role way better than Azelf.
Bill.
Huh? No, regular Zam.
Oh no.
I don't know how much more regular Zam costs than Azelf. So if it's like 20 more, I think I was the one who initiated that vote. So I don't know, maybe if she can find the budget to move it up, I think Zam is a much better pick to put offense out throughout the entire game because it's just much stronger in general. And I don't think her speed option's ever going to need rocks. I don't think she's ever running rocks on Azelf. So maybe find a way to get rocks on something else, and maybe upgrade something else to something faster. But I still think the team's really good. I just think that that's a crippling weakness is applying pressure because it's kind of forced to be done all through Azelf at the moment. The one good thing I'll give Azelf is that Azelf really appreciates steals getting broken down, and Kyurem really likes to lure in and break down steals. So she has that going for her too.
This team is decent.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I just think it's missing some critical elements that keep it from being the top, like a top end team. But it was my number 5 team, so I guess you can go over your number 6.
Reggie. I think between Ruby and Reggie, I couldn't really pick. I just put Reggie above Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
If I could, safe with Reggie, you know. I thought his hazard control was great, and I think that just like obviously she has breakers, he really doesn't.
The best breaker in the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but more safe to say Reggie was a bit better than Ruby.
In terms of drafting or in terms of playing? Because I'm not really
And
considering
draft.
playing.
Play either. if I was, then like, why am I not at number one?
Why are you not at number 27 in the 14-person league?
Like, Ziff, you already know this.
Can you switch it to Reggie? Because I forgot about his team already. Oh, you're an anonymous manatee, by the way.
Oh, that's hot.
You're also really fat and slow, like an aromatase.
My computer is fat and gay.
Same. Except me, not my computer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, on Reggie's team, I really hate Shuckle. Shuckle's trash. Togedemaru's trash. So I think, Shuckle, Togedemaru, and Finny are all big trash. So those are all like really minus points for me.
Alolan with Z parting shot will save this team one game. I will guarantee.
Go right into that Volk and sweep.
Yes. Or even
I think the good stuff on the team is good, but just lacks a little overall breaking power. I know Reggie was really concerned about being weak to Fairy.
It's meh. It's there, but like,
I don't know. It depends how much you trust Klefki, I suppose.
At all.
I don't think Togedemaru adds anything that Klefki didn't, though. It's like, I think if you feel you're weak to a type, you need to add more variety to deal with it. Not the same thing. Like, I think saying, wow, I'm really weak to Fairy because Klefki can't do the job, let's add another Steel. It's not going to help you out because you're not going to bring both Steels to the game because you're just going to be redundant. If you said, oh, I'm really weak to Fairy, so let me drop a Poison on, then that's going to help you out because that's adding you some more variety, more ways to deal with the Fairy, or deal with more varieties of Fairy. Because, like, what if you're against... Oh no, are there any fairies that are out there that also hit steals? Fairy grounds, fairy fires. Do those not even exist?
The grounds and fairy fires. Fairy fire exist.
I don't know. Fairies with strong fire coverage, like Clefable, can't just freely run flame. Like, against him at the moment, Clefable can just toss on Flamethrower and deal with both of them. Whereas if you had a decent poison, it would also need to consider Psychic, is what I mean. Having more variety of ways to deal with another type. I don't think Togedemaru... I see Reggie's like, wow, Klefki's really passive, so I'm going to have trouble dealing with the fairies. But adding on Togedemaru, which is just dog shit, and another Steel, I don't think solves the problem. If that makes sense.
July is...
I think Swalot is actually still around and not terrible.
Swalot is God. Oh my god. Alright, next up. Do you want to go?
Oh yeah, Reggie was your number 6, right? Right?
Hey, Tepig next.
Tepig. Actually, I was going to go to mine first. Because we've been doing it like Zipper. Because that was your number 6, right?
I thought we went... Okay.
Alright, well, I'll go to my number 4, and then you'll go to your number 5, okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so my number 4 is Jeff.
God. What a god. Lucky that he's not playing me.
I think this is the start of teams that really don't have any super big things I can point out. Like, everyone else I had, like, a super big weakness. Not a super big weakness. Like, 10 through 13, I could say, yeah, you're doing a lot of things wrong. I have major problems with this team. 9 through 5, I was like, okay, yeah, this could be better, but still very good. This is the first team where I'm like, there's really very few things that are wrong with this team. If that makes sense.
You just spit fire on this team.
Yeah, Selly plus Zardex is really scary.
Sure.
Decent rockers, decent speed, or really good speed tiers, really good breakers. I think the small things wrong with the team, or like Reggie said, not hazard removal isn't quite to the level you would want to pair with Zard. It's not terrible, but it's like not quite there. Lando can defog on most grounds, and Empoleon can defog on most rocks. So he has that going for him, so at least he has both of them covered.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a bit of an ice weakness, with only Empoleon resisting it. And granted, Empoleon's a quad resistance, but it's and,
It's
and
4 months
Marini
ever since.
and Marini. I think people sleep on Marini a little bit. It's actually not that bad.
Gastrodon, Celesteela. I don't think. Yeah, I guess Ice is. Um, he has a fire weakness.
Fire weakness, I don't see it. I see the ice weakness. I don't see a fire weakness.
Oh, he's
He's got like triple water. I mean, one's Empoleon, but still. And
one's
Zard.
Empoleon. You don't want Zard to be taking hits, especially if there's rocks up.
I mean,
Um,
if Rocks. Zard is the kind of bulky offensive juggernaut that really can take whatever it wants to. I don't know. I guess maybe because Selly and Buzzwole are weak, but other than that, he doesn't even have a single weak to it to fire. And like those are two decently critical fire weeks.
I get that.
I feel like Buzzwole is probably the one thing that I don't really see how it fits super well, besides maybe having a reliable dark resist. But still, I think the team's fine. Really strong breaking power, good synergy between Zard and Celebi coming in bulky waters and setting up. Um,
It's
a
pretty decent.
ton of water types and ground types to come in on the fires and electrics coming in on Selly. Good synergy, good utility, maybe a few little type weaknesses, and the little defog issue I think hold him back from being super or like absolute on top. But like I said, my top 4 teams I feel are like on top of the rest and very close, with all of them having like very minor issues with the team. Anything else you have to say?
I'm pretty. I had Tepic next.
All right, Tepig's your number 5.
So,
I think you have him way too high, but I'll hear your reasoning.
like I said, I think 5 through 7, or did I say 5 through 7? Like around that, like midway. I think that's kind of interchangeable. There's nothing wrong. Like literally, we talked about him, and I don't really want to talk about Tepic again because it's Tepic, but he has everything covered. He has threats with Zygarde once Aditi's up. The Crossbow's always a good threat. Greninja can hit well with specs, even Scarf, like just regular modest Greninja or Life Orb Greninja hits well. Mega Aggron's always a threat because you have to break it down with Filter. As to his 2 Mons, Mega Aggron and the Crossbow are still, because of their abilities, aren't really weaknesses. And Clefable's always a good Cleric Mon for this team.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
I had the major issue of him having no fast, reliable power outside of Greninja, and Greninja isn't even that powerful. So I think that's what kept him from being very high on my list. But
Especially when you have a
don't,
Lantern.
maybe you don't value that high.
When you have a Lantern who's supposed to be a bulky pivot, but once you switch with a bulky pivot, you tend to want to switch into a faster Mon who can outspeed the Mon that you're from, because that's why you're.
All right, so you want to move on to my number 3 now?
Yeah, you have. Who
All
at
right,
3?
I've got D-Winch.
Just so elite.
I think D-Winch finally drafted a team, like Rody said, that fits his playstyle. D-Winch kind of usually just drafts dog shit, like really weird things. Like he'll draft something high tier and offensive, and then like get kind of generic support for it, and then just draft some really weird things. This time his draft's pretty well put together. Venu, Milo, Jirachi is like dummy hard to break, which is like a really nice for D-Winchell because he really likes playing defensively. And he's got some solid offense to support it, like Weavile, Nape, Torn, Galvantula. I think Galvantula does not belong in his team. I hate it as a Mon. I don't think Webs help him out particularly much here either because he
Webs ever help out, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got a really defensive team. I don't see the Webs on it. You really like having a flying resist with your electric type when you've got Venusaur around. and you
Doesn't
also
have
don't
it.
want another fire week with Jirachi around. I think like a regular electric added a whole lot more to this team than Galvantula did. So, not a giant fan of that pick, but outside of that, I really like the team. Maybe the offense is a bit like sort of nonsensical. Like I don't see any strong synergy between the offense, but it's still pretty threatening and built around that really solid defensive core. So I think it'll work really well for him.
Flygon, Weavile, I guess.
Yeah, like not bad mons, but I just don't see how they come together as one.
I wrote is this team is balanced, like
Yep.
comfy with great priority. This team can go defensive and can go offensive. It may not go as great offensively, but it definitely does its job.
He's
And
definitely got the fattest team in the draft, I'd say.
I could see that, yeah.
Besides maybe Jolty, but like his team's much more sound than Jolty's.
Think speed control.
His team's got better fat than Jolty's and better offense, both by a significant margin.
Fat, yeah, I can see that. So really helps the team with priorities. But so is Weavile. I think his priority is really great here.
Yeah, I actually didn't look at that, but he has really good priority.
Helps his speed control, speed because he's not really the fastest. Like I get he got Galvantula for webs, but like at the same time, you're not going to be
Speed's
relying on
probably
webs.
just as solid as anyone else's, to be honest.
His speed gaps are nowhere to be found. I think
Yeah.
this team intact. I think do you really want to?
One major weakness I see with the team is rocks. And he's got 3 rockers in Jirachi and Nape and Soul Rock. But Soul Rock is the kind of mon you only bring in like when you're playing a Torn, when you're playing, I don't know, a Lando, something like that. Like it comes in, I think it's like a pretty neat typing that comes in handy a lot of the times, but it's like
Doesn't even play me. So
Yeah.
he doesn't even play it.
it's nothing like super valuable. Nape almost always either wants to run Scarf. Scarf rocks are awkward. You can make it work, but it's awkward. Or some sort of breaking set, and it's always Nape is always hard pressed to fit all the moves it wants. Never mind wanting to run rocks. And Jirachi also wants to run Scarf a lot, and like Wish. And when you run Wish, you need Protect, and that's already 3 moves. So fitting rocks onto any given one of those mons is never appreciated. So I think he's going to have a hard time getting rocks onto his team a lot. So I think that's a weakness. But he has a lot of strength going for the team as well.
Alright.
So I guess who's your number 4?
You. Oh my god.
Me.
We could talk about you. So
Mars says he hates my team. What a meanie.
it's opinion. I mean unopinion.
He even
So,
says himself is
obviously-
an unopinion.
That's when you know. Your team's bulky. Like, I look at this team and I'm just like Gligar type Null, Muck, Rotom Heat, Nucleus, Tyranitar, even Serp to extent.
Serp
Bulky.
isn't bulky. But if you've noticed, I really, with my low tiers, I always like to draft things that always give me momentum and always have something useful to click.
Megalop is really, I think, works pretty well with this team.
In my opinion, Megalop is arguably the best mod in the format. I would argue it to be the best one. I don't see anything better than it,
Go,
the way I see it, but that's just me.
go, Coco.
Maybe Coco, but even then, I think Coco on its own isn't as good, but Coco has like utility and momentum grabbing that Lop doesn't.
Your bulk, and unless you're gonna count Ranunculus, I don't even know how to say his name. Ranunculus. So as a bulky mon,
Ranunculus is very bulky.
but like you're gonna be setting up. You're not really.
No, it's like a Clef though, where it like comes in and sets up on things. And Magic Guard makes it deceivingly bulky. You can't Toxic it. It doesn't take rocks, which like lots of times makes things appear to be less bulky than they are. Like Clef isn't that bulky, but it always lives so long because it's not taking that residual rock damage or anything like that.
And then you have Gligar who gets recovery. Your other mons who are there is Cavalier and Type Null and Muck don't get recovery, and I think that just weakens your defensive core. Heat, other than the classic paid split leftovers.
Type Null gets rest though, and it can get it off pretty reliably.
Yeah, I guess. I think you have great rockers. You have Magic Bounce, which just gives you more momentum, and you kind of do need momentum with your Megalop. And
Magic Bounce doesn't give momentum, but it does like play mind games.
Momentum to an extent. I think Azumarill fits your team well.
Fun fact: if I'm playing against Reggie and he chooses to parting shot my Espeon, he gets forced out.
Oh, that's.
Or no, wait, no, I forget what the interaction was. I think I get a free switch, but I can't remember. I don't know. I saw it in a Gypsy King video. I'm forgetting how it worked exactly already. Yeah, no, he forces me out. I'm pretty sure.
You don't get. He gets the drop.
I think he gets the drop and then I get forced out, but I'm not sure. I remember the interaction's weird. I'd have to watch it again.
It just sounds really cool. You have a great offensive core. I think Tyranitar works well with your team. I think it really, as Reggie did say, glues your team in together. You can run Unnerve. You can even, I guess you can run Sandstream because your Renucleus and Cobalion and Gligar, they don't mind it as much.
Sandville Gligar.
It's a thing. You have great rockers. Your defoggers are also great. They're good, actually.
Yeah, they're all just solid. Gligar's actually a really good defogger in my opinion.
Yeah, so Tom Heat is debatable. Serp is you're not really going to want to.
Yeah, it's not my favorite draft I've ever done by any means, and I got sniped a solid amount, especially out of my second round Zapdos, which was really
sad
to glue everything together. Fuck Reggie. But I still think it's solid, and I like it. But the things I was really unsure of is I think I lack a bit of high-end power. Serp and Lop are like incredibly good power and speed, but like Serp doesn't have that initial power, and Lop is probably the best at like initial power forcing things out. It eats offense alive, but even then it's like not. It's just one mon, and even though it's probably the best at it out there, I think it's still probably, just having it all rely on Lop, especially when things like to run helmets a lot and stuff. Espeon helps too, which is why I picked it up after, to try and take a little bit of pressure off that role. But even then, I think it's still a little bit of an issue. Azu helps a lot with priority though, and I think the core of T-Tar and Reuniclus also works out really well, and T-Tar pursuit trapping will also hopefully remove some of the need to outspeed all of the offense if the offense can just straight up die to T-Tar.
Yeah. It's just DDS on them.
Or pursuit them and they're gone.
Alright. Next up, who do you have?
Alright, if I'm number 3. I have Mars. So this was probably one of the biggest discrepancies. I already went over most of my reasoning. 'Cause I found that like, even though a lot of the things are downgrades from what I have, still what he has of my team, I think it was the best team I've ever built. I still think it's a really good team, even if it's not fully there.
I think just their core is really good, and then I think everything else is just pretty much dog shit.
Yeah, I do think Mars isn't quite aggressive enough as a player, and like
So we'll crash the first turn. I think he's
not
pretty aggressive.
doesn't have the, I don't know, prep prediction kind of uh,
Yeah.
sense that I do to really make the team click.
Saying he's better than you.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do it as nice as possible.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's what really turns this whole team off. Like, this isn't a Mars team. This is a
Like,
Ziff team.
when
Like,
you're
most,
using a really hyper, or not even a hyper offense, like this is definitely a very offensive build. It's not hyper offense. It's got good bulk and like good options, but you need to make use of the momentum and really make the most of every turn. Put yourself in positions to do well and get your threats in. And I really, Mars did not do a good job of getting his threats in safely at all. In the first game, like I think the team is very good. I just don't think. I think it takes a bit to use it. And
I
if you're unable to get your threats in and unable to anticipate how your opponent will react to everything, it doesn't work nearly as well as it could. But the team itself is still very good, I feel.
I agree.
So who's
Okay.
your number 3, I guess now?
Jeff.
All right, actually, since you got to me, you can probably do your 2 as well, because we're on the same page now.
We got Jeff.
I already said pretty much all I can say about Jeff. So
I really have nothing else. Sorry, Jeff, but we're just gonna move on to my second, which was D. Winchell.
I already talked a
My
lot about
guy,
Winchell
Dwayne.
too, but you can say your thoughts if you have any left.
I kind of don't. You're just balanced, and I actually love your team for you. If this was my team, I think it would work well for me as well. I just think anyone could pick up this team and play well. Yeah,
All right.
got number 1. I think we both have number 1.
Yeah, we both have Jack, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Wow, big reveal.
I still think that 1 through 4 are really on par with each other. I don't think Jack's team is significantly better. I think Jack's just has none of like the small little tweaks I'd make on the other team. Like Jeff has a small rocks weakness, small ice and fire weakness. D Winch has the small issues with getting up rocks and not a ton of making sense with the offensive mons together. And Mars, although if Mars had my entire draft, I'd probably rank it above Jack. Just being honest, because I think that team is like dummy strong. But even then, I think like the team's really good. Just like missing the key elements and glue to really make it come together. But uh, Jack's just got everything. He's got good speed, good walls, solid resist to everything.
I think Electric just beats down his team. I mean,
Electric.
obviously, it's Garchomp.
He's got Garchomp and Serena.
Serena is an electric resist. What? Wait, grass resist. Oh yeah, grass resist.
PK, how long have you been playing mods? One thing I do see as a slight issue for him is that Arrow's going to be luring, or not luring, but like calling in a lot of steals as responses, because those are just the natural responses to Arrow, especially like Shuka steals. And he doesn't have anything that really happily comes in on him. Like I guess Scarm, but Scarm isn't like I don't know, not happily come in. And Darm can, but like, Darm probably dies to most earthquakes if rocks are up. It definitely dies to most earthquakes.
Thing is, this team is also, you go into prep, right? And you're like, okay, well, I have to get down Skarmory. And you also have to have enough bulk to pass Garchomp. And then you also have to make sure Suicune does not sleep talk you.
Yep.
Surely you can at least take Darm and Darmanitan, and you have a Mega Aerodactyl who has fan coverage, and then you have Slurpuff who could just pop a berry. I think
there's a lot going on.
A lot going on, and I think he covers it so well. It's to the point where like Jack Like, to the point where I think he's gonna go 14-0.
There's 11 games this season.
11
Unless
and
you're
0.
talking about
Sorry.
playoffs.
Well, he could win, but if he plays me in the playoffs, then go off. All right. Except if I play Jolty.
I think
No,
he's really well balanced team and has everything you need. Skarn plus Chomp plus Kuhn, really hard to break, and then some decent offensive filling to go with it. I'm not a giant fan of Darm just because it's not super bulky, doesn't get recovery, but it does hit very hard. I don't think Arrow fits like super well, but it's not bad by any means.
If he's a real one,
huh?
If he's a real one, he's gonna use sub Darmanitan with cussed up Barry and abuse it Zen mode Darman.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't even know what Zen mode Darmanitan does.
It's literally the opposite, but it's a special attacker.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Like,
I'll look at it after.
so plus with 140, and it has the same 105 HP, and it becomes a fire psychic. But if you give it cussed up Barry, then it's just like a whole different mon. One.
Alright. Does it get recycle?
Does.
It does?
Oh. Oh.
Oh. Well, he's got a lot. Yeah, like I said, this really balanced team. Got a lot of resist to everything. Now that I look at it, he's got a lot of monotype mons. Like, way more than anyone else does. Like, just random observation. But he does.
Oh my god. I don't know what Weezing does.
I think he covers everything better than anyone else and leaves no holes. It's kind of like almost like Pete's team on steroids, where like nothing fits particularly well together. Like, I don't see the particular offensive synergy. The defensive synergy is definitely there, more so than Pete's team, and it's really, really strong. Not a ton of offensive synergy, but like it's not needed, and he's got a lot of good shit.
Well, that's all I have.
All right, so I guess that's it for the video then.
We need a quick playoff prediction.
Playoff prediction. All right, actually, I've got the entire list of players right in front of me. Who's going in? Jack is. Morris is missing. Demon is making it. I have faith. He's finally got a fat team to work for him. He's making it. That's 2. Jeff. Ooh, that's tough. I'll come back to him. I'm going to say Ruby misses it. T-Bill, I'll come back to him. Reggie makes it. That's 3. Pete misses. Tepig misses. Cody misses. PK misses.
Wow.
Jolty makes, that's 4. Freddy misses. T-Bill makes it, that's 5. Jeff makes it, that's 6. I have to go back on someone.
Oh.
Oof. I don't know who I go back. Oh wait, no, the 7th one's me. Never mind.
Yeah.
Those are my playoff predictions.
My playoff predictions, right? Me 1 seed.
Also, don't be offended if I said you don't make playoffs. Just prove me wrong.
I'm literally just told me, and like he just said I wouldn't make the playoffs right in my face, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm brutal.
So I'm gonna be the 1st seed. Let's be honest.
All right.
Jack and DeWitch are actually locks.
All right, that's 3.
I want to say that you don't make playoffs, but sadly, you're too good. So
right,
you'll make
4.
it. IG.
That's 5.
T-Bill.
That's 6.
No, Ruby. I'm gonna say T-Bill over Ruby. I'm gonna let T-Bill out, and then I want to say Pete.
Pete. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the dark horse. Dark horse Pete. No Jolty.
I think Pete's gonna beat Jolty out.
No Jeff.
Last week.
No Jeff and no Jolty.
Well, considering how Jeff was playing the end of last season and how busy he's been, like he just prepped right before finals. I don't think he's ready for this season.
Well, I guess we'll see then.
I love you, Jeff, though.
Alright, is that it for the video?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright, well, see you all, I guess, in weekly PRs, where if I'll do them all, I'll probably do PRs every week, And if you want to make a special guest appearance, just say so, and just be
Yeah.
awake at like 4 a.m. or something, and then we'll record them.
Yeah.
But other than that, bye bye.